Hey guys and gals, this is Will from Recruiter's Custom Blacksmithing. Welcome back to the channel. So on today's episode, we have part 2 of Ken's Custom Iron Quick Tongs. So if you don't know, I bought 5 tongs from Ken's Custom Iron. 4 were from a bundle, 1 I bought separate. I finally put them together. I finally found the time to put them together. And I'm going to go over how they came out and how easy they were to put together and the usefulness of each tong plus its specific purpose. So, if you've never done blacksmithing, if you're new to blacksmithing, in case you don't know, tongs are very hard. If you didn't notice from my first attempt at tongs, this was my first attempt at tongs. Very, very awful. In case you can't tell why, these are already really wide apart when it's closed. Very bad. Second thing, these are really short. That was an oversight. Also, the pivot point is in the middle, which was a dumb idea. Terrible idea. But they suited the purpose that I needed them for at the time. Not ideal. So, I have new tongs. First up, I have the scroll tongs. In case you can't already tell, one is taller than the other. Should be a pretty simple fix on the grinder. I want to kind of round them out a little better too. Shouldn't be too difficult. The other major problem is this is them closed. Normally, you would want scroll tongs almost together with them closed. Now, I've seen them both ways. I've seen them where when you squeeze them together, they're like a pair of pliers where they're tight. And then I've seen other ones where they kind of look like this, where they're not really that close together. But it mostly depends on what you're using them with. I mean, if you're using them with bigger stock, then yeah, you're going to want a wider gap because you're using bigger stock. I don't normally use big stock. Probably my most commonly used stock is probably 3/8, which 3/8 isn't really going to work with this. So, I'm going to have to make some minor adjustments. Nothing that can't be fixed in the forge. But that's that. Railroad spike tongs. If you look right here, you can see, if I can get it to focus on it. If you look right here, you can see there's a bead of weld in there. Bead of weld means I messed it up. Shocking. What happened was I twisted this and then I hit it back all in one heat, which was a terrible idea. I should have reheated it because when I went to hit this back, it just split it. Shocking. The only way a blacksmith goes to hell is hitting cold steel. Another issue. They're perfectly in line with each other. So, with it closed, remember how I said the huge gap? Yeah. So, when I have a railroad spike in there, it's all wiggly. So, some minor adjustments there. Nothing too difficult. I could honestly probably fix that on the vise. I don't know if I want to. I'm probably going to just reheat it because it'll be safer, and faster. I don't know if it'd be faster. It'd probably be about the same amount of time, to be honest. But I digress. Next one is the bolt tongs is the actual name for these, as I found out. I didn't actually know what the name of these were, but bolt tongs. And I made them V-bits. There's all kinds of variations you can do for these. You can do V-bits, you can do round for round stock. I like V-bits personally because with V-bits I can use square stock, which I fitted this to 5/8, which is a railroad spike, in case you didn't know. In case I break the railroad spike tongs, not really going to hurt my feelings too much. But in case I break them for whatever reason, these will work beautifully. But with V-bits, it fits both square and round to an extent. I mean, it's not going to be real snug with round, but it'll work. The reason I went with 5/8 is not just because of the railroad spikes. I mean, that was the main reason. But, you know, these are big enough and heavy duty enough that I could go up to 3, you know, that's pretty wide. I mean, that's about as wide as I can go, still having a firm grip on something. You know, I could go up to 1 inch or 3 1/4 with these V-bit tongs, which is fantastic. Definitely a good addition, something good to have in case I've come across something that has a head on it. Next, I have the flat bit tongs. Probably my least bit used tongs. There's a lot of different variations of flat bit tongs. Mostly I use them for like picking stuff out of the forge, putting them into the vise for twisting or whatever I'm doing in the vise, or if I'm quenching something. So I'll pull it out of the forge, quench it in whatever I'm quenching. That's what I use flat bit tongs for. I don't usually use flat bit tongs to forge stuff. That's just my personal preference. I mean, there's older guys that they have nothing but flat bit tongs in several different varieties, which I think is insane, but that's just me. I did put a groove in there. You can probably see it a little bit. I did put a slight groove. I might widen that out a little bit with a grinder. The reason I did that is that's more for 3/8 tongs, 3/8 stock. Because I don't really have anything that goes really small. I mean, the tongs that I made will work with smaller stuff, but not like stupid small stuff. So this will be helpful for that. And I figured out what these are. These are slotted tongs. I know what they're for too, which is not what I thought. If you look here, I curled out the tips in the opposite direction. The reason for that is for flat stock. Now if you look there, see how it grips that? Now if those were straight, it would probably butt into that. And I fit these up for 1 1/4 because that's probably my most common flat stock that I use right now. When I get into more knives and swords, I'll probably move into thicker stuff and have more tongs. But for right now, for what I'm doing, because I am a blacksmith, not a bladesmith. Bladesmithing is part of blacksmithing, but technicalities, don't care. That's kind of what I planned on using these for. But there's a hidden feature to these that's not just flat stock. Enter 7/8 round stock. It fits it perfectly. It's amazing. So, I fit that for 7/8. Can probably go down to about 1/2 inch. 7/8 is pretty close. Definitely getting more of these because these are amazing. Don't know why I didn't know what they were. Because they're amazing. If you're looking for a universal tong, if you only had to own one set of tongs, I'd probably get this. This is my new favorite thing. I love this. I used to be partial to the bolt tongs and the V-bits. Not anymore. This changed my mind. This is amazing. Get a pair of these. Okay. All joking aside, I have a new problem. Not the fact that I want more tongs, but the fact that I have no place for tongs now. As well as I already had a pre-existing problem of having no place to put my hammers except for wherever I felt like dropping them. So I've come up with a solution. Let me show you. Okay, so originally I thought about maybe adapting the arms of these on the forge for racks, but for my next forge, I have an entirely different idea for that, and I don't want to waste those for tong space. I mean, I could, but right now, that's not what I want to do. What I want to do is I have this huge bench that is full of crap, shockingly. What I want to do is right here, there's all this empty space. So what I did is I went and I bought this huge piece of 1.25 inches. And I am going to make a rack that attaches straight to the bench here. And then that way I can just hang the tongs, hang the hammers right here like so, and then I'll know exactly what it is, be able to pick it right up, come right over, do whatever I'm doing, and then slap it back in there. I think this is going to be the most logistically sound for me. Plus, I mean, without having forge doors, it actually gets really hot over here. So if I were to store hammers over here, it'd probably ruin the temper. Not to mention, they'd be really hot when I went to grab them. Kinda sucks. So, in the next video, or maybe the next video after that, it depends on how long it's going to take for me to do this. That's my plan. I'm going to show you how to make a rack. Going to use a couple different techniques, a couple different hammers, and try out the new touch mark we just made. That should be fun. Alright, so that's it. If you're interested in any of Ken's quick tongs, I'll put a link down in the description like I did in the last video. If you're interested in how I'm going to make a rack or how to make a rack, subscribe. If you liked my reviews, leave a like. If you didn't, drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Feedback is always fantastic, whether it be positive or negative. So, until then, see you in the next one.